Hello, today we're going to be talking about the most intimidating books on my TBR, so let's just get into it. The first question is a book on your TBR pile that you have not finished, and for that I have a couple answers. The first is Shakey Bane by Douglas Stewart. This book I can't describe to you because I haven't gotten very far in it, as you can see. I've picked this book up like 3 or 4 times though, and I've started it and I have no issue with it. But I always just end up putting it down and picking up another book instead. The most recent time I picked it up was right before I went on vacation last summer. And I was really into it at the moment, but I just didn't want to bring it on vacation with me. So I have no idea when I'm ever going to finish this, but I'm determined that I will because, again, it's not a bad book. My second answer is Beyond Survival, Strategies and Stories from the Transformative Justice Movement. This book is pretty self-explanatory, considering the title. I'm actually like halfway through this one, if you can see. I was reading this for my policy paper that I was doing for school. And the issue with this book is that some of the chapters are super interesting and some of them are really boring to read, so you never quite know what you're gonna get at the moment. And I'm determined to finish it because I do think there's a lot of like really great strategies in here for organizing and transformative justice as a whole, but I just don't know when I'm gonna get back to it. And my last book for this question is The Count of Monte Cristo. This book has been killing me, honestly. I'm not that far into it. You can't really tell, but you can tell a little bit. Oh, there's a hair. That's adorable. Pretend you didn't see that. So I'm not that far into this, and I was really enjoying it. I had just kind of gotten to like a more slow part of the story, and then I stopped picking it up. And now it just sits on my bookshelf and it just taunts me. And I just look at it, I just think about how I have to pick it up, and then I don't pick it up, and it just sits there, and I just think about it. And it's a whole vicious cycle. Next question is a book you just haven't had the time to read for. I know what book I'm gonna choose, but it's way over there, so give me a second. My answer for this one is another classic, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I can't say it. Just pretend I said it. I actually started reading this book during winter break and I was liking it. I'm not very far in, so I can't describe to you anything about this book. I was just following a guide so far. But I was really liking it, but I say this in like every video, I feel. I'm in law school. I'm in my last semester of law school, actually, thank the Lord. But because I'm in law school, I'm constantly reading really complicated, long, boring shit. And it makes my tolerance for reading very low. And this is like a complicated, like a book you really need to think as you're reading for. So my brain's just too much of a pile of mush to be reading this right now. But I am looking forward to reading this as soon as I'm done with school and done with the bar. Number 3 is a book you haven't read because it's a sequel. I know which one I'm choosing. Everything's falling! For this one, I'm choosing The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the sequel to The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. So it's the second book in the Lord of the Rings series. You know what I'm talking about. I just always forget that I haven't finished this series yet. And I think I even put this on like my 2024 TBR, maybe my winter TBR, but I haven't gotten around to it. And I always forget about it. Because it's a sequel. Like, one day I will pick this up. One day I'm gonna make myself pick this up because I want to read Lord of the Rings. It just hasn't happened yet. Number 4 is a book you haven't read because it's brand new. For this answer, I'm gonna go with A Certain Hunger by Chelsea Summers. This isn't like completely brand new. I got it for Christmas, but it's newer on my shelves. This is a book about cannibalism, I believe. That's all I know, which makes me really want to pick it up. I'm really into horror right now. I love stories about cannibalism in particular. I love the cover. I've heard great things. I just haven't gotten around to it because it's a newer addition to my shelves. Number 5 is a book by an author you previously read and did not like. I'm switching this one up a little bit, but my answer is No Longer Human by Junji Ito. The thing is that, like, I have nothing against this man. I've never read any of his shit before, but what I didn't realize when I bought this book is that, this is so stupid of me, I didn't realize that it's basically just like a manga adaptation of the book No Longer Human by like, what's the name, Osamu Dazai or something? I can't remember. I'll put it here. That book I did read and I didn't really like that much, and this is exactly that book, just with like pictures. So I do still want to read it because I think Junji Ito like sounds really cool, and I think maybe his adaptation of it will make me like it more, like with the pictures, but essentially it's just the same fucking book. A book that I already didn't like, but I can't ever get rid of this because my grandma bought it for me, so I have to read it at some point. Number 6 is a book on your TBR pile that you're just not in the mood to read. Is this like every book for me? I'm a mood reader. Like, by the time I can't come up with a TBR for each month because I'm just very picky about what specific mood I'm in at every moment. So honestly, this is like every book, but I'll pick a specific one. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna go with Slavery's Exiles, The Story of the American Maroons by Sylvain Diolf. This is a nonfiction book, and it talks about American Maroons, which are basically like escaped slaves who formed communities in the wilderness primarily and lived together. At least that's my understanding. This is another one where I haven't been in the mood to read it because of law school. Like, this is a pretty long nonfiction book, and although the subject sounds really interesting to me, I just feel like I don't have the headspace for it right now. Number 7 is a book on your TBR that you have not read because it's enormous. I know, the perfect book for this. Where are you? This one's so easy. War and Peace. First of all, let's admire this beautiful edition. I'm so obsessed with it. I love the Penguin Clothbound editions. I have read Anna Karenina, so it's not necessarily like the fact that this is a Russian classic that intimidates me. It's more so just how absolutely huge this book is. Like, this is a monster of a book. So I do think like I'm gonna read this at some point in my life, and I do think I honestly will like it because I liked Anna Karenina, but just the size of it is holding me back for now. Number 8 is a book on your TBR pile that you bought because of the cover. It's embarrassing how many answers I could have for this one. First one I can think of is When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill. This is a story about like two best friends, two girls growing up that are best friends but like kind of hate each other, like that kind of dynamic. I just love this cover. And I've seen it online a lot, and that's the sole reasons that I bought it. But there is a second one too, and that is Bliss Montage by Ling Mom. I had never read anything by this author, and I don't really like short stories that much, but I bought it because I love this cover. It's so good, and then it's like, you can't tell on camera I don't think, but the words are like 3D. It's really nice. So even though I don't really like short stories, I still want to give this one a chance. And number 9 is the book on your TBR that you find the most intimidating, and there's only one answer for this. Infinite Jest. Has there ever been a more intimidating book? Maybe War and Peace, but I think this like ties. This is a huge book. This is a famously like difficult to understand book, and it's a famously like super what's the word, pretentious bitch book. So this is without a doubt the most intimidating book on my TBR. No idea what it's about. I just know that one day I'm gonna have to get to it, and I'm in fear. So anyway, those are the most intimidating books on my TBR. Goodbye.